They weren't fancy to progress further at the Olympics. Nobody gave them a chance. We thought they were going to make up the numbers, but the Tigress has shown that with hard work, with unity, you can achieve your dreams. Welcome to another exciting edition of Sports Pizza. My name is Edwin Onyepolise. It promises to be another exciting time on the show. We have loads in store for you, from the Olympics to tennis to athletics. Of course, there's plenty of football. I don't do this alone. I have David with me on set, and together we'll make sense of all that we have in store for you. But you know what? Fasten your seatbelt. It's going to be a fantastic ride. Don't change the channel. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back to the show, Sports Pizza. Edwin in the building alongside David. Welcome to the show, David.
Yeah, Edwin, a pleasure to be here as always. Let's get this show on the road.
All right, David, straight up to business. Where do we start? The Tigress. So coming to the Olympics, we saw the group France, Canada, and Australia. And the consensus was, hey, they're going to make up the numbers. Nobody gave them a chance. But David, they made history. They became the first African country, male or female, to get to the quarterfinals at the basketball event in the Olympics.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's been a remarkable journey. It's been a remarkable journey for them. I mean, they've achieved more than what was expected. I'm sure even their own expectations were not, but I mean, when they got to the competition, they decided that they were going to put their foot to the pedal and do the very best. And they are living with their heads held high. You know, what a fantastic Olympics they've had.
Is it time we focus a lot more on the ladies? Because when you take a look at the successes we have achieved in the last couple of years, the women have been at the forefront. From the Falcons, you go to athletics, you have Toby Amuson, you have Ese Brume, now you have the Tigress. In wrestling, you have Odunayo Adekuroye. It is time we take a look at these ladies and feel like, hey, I'm not saying the men are not doing great, but we need to show intention to these ladies.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for us to make it clear, we're not saying the men should be totally...
No, I'm not saying that.
We are saying
I'm not saying that. Give them
more.
equal, yes, equal or even more.
Yeah, they've not gotten
to win more is given, more is expected.
They've not gotten enough. You know, if they can get even the barest, you know, we saw the Falcons at some point when they won the 2019 Nations Cup. They were brought back in very disgraceful circumstances for a reigning African champion. So I think, like you said, more needs to be given to them. We've seen the women. The fact that most of our medal hopefuls at these Olympics are women, it shows you that with the little they have been given, they've produced this. If they can be given even more, I think they can even produce more for us.
And it's also telling, David, that a lot of these athletes are based outside Nigeria. It is telling. Now, this is a country with a population of 200 million people. Some say it's more, some say it's less, but I'm going to stick with the statistics. 200 million. I feel bad that at a major tournament like the Olympics, we do not have local representation, or we have more international representation than local representation. It makes me feel bad.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you look at the fact that those who have made it to the very top are the few that have made it from the cracks, you know. So it means if we can expand that crack and make it a very wide gap, we can get the very best, more and more from, you know, from the local system. And I think it's really important that more deliberate work needs to be done. You know, the fact that only those few make it to the crack, it shows that it's not a deliberate effort, it's just the ones that are able to make it. So we need to do more, you know, sports infrastructure. The fact that we don't have a national stadium, we don't have a national, most of these countries, top countries, they have national Olympic centers where the very best of their talent locally go to train. They don't need to go abroad to get the best facilities. So I think those are the issues that we need to address.
Still in the spirit of the Olympics, David, we know the highlights at every Olympics is the 100 meters final. We have a new Olympic champion. His name is Noah Lyles. He's the showman. Athletics have been crying out since Usain Bolt retired, and he has walked the talk. Remember, last year he said that the NBA winner is not world champions, and hey, basketball fans, American fans
They
came for him. Under a lot of pressure, he has shut the mouth of everyone up.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the fact that, to put in context, his best event is the 200 meters.
Yes.
So there's still more to, but, he buckled down and felt there's opportunity for a medal in the 100 meters, and he took it. His hits, he came second, and he felt, so these guys are really more serious about this. So he decided in the final it's not going to happen, and he proved it. The fact that, mentioned the fact that American fans, basketball fans are coming for him, and they tried to come for him, but he proved his point, and a lot of pressure. I call the 100 meters like the most action-packed 10 seconds or sub 10 seconds in all of it. When you're training 4 years, more than 4 years, just for 10 seconds of your life, changed his life completely. Now he's the 100 meters champion, 9.78, what he wanted.
And it was a photo finish. In fact, from the first position down to the last, they were separated by 0.12 seconds. Keishan Thompson took silver and Fred Kelly took bronze. For those who find it difficult to understand how they arrived at now taking the first position. So the torso is what is accounted for first, or taken into account first before other part of the body. And for Thompson, who finished second, his leg or his foot went first before his torso. But with Noah Niles, his torso went first before his foot, and that's why he took home the gold medal. Still with the Olympics, David, Novak Djokovic, he has completed tennis, career Grand Slam, the Australian Open, Wimbledon, French Open, US Open, and now Olympic gold medal. He's the 5th tennis player to achieve that feat.
Yeah, absolutely. They call it the Golden Slam, and the 5th player to achieve it. There are only 3 men that have done it: Andre Agassi, Rafael Nadal, and now himself. So I think it's a remarkable one. I saw a tweet this earlier, and they said, tell me what Novak Djokovic has not achieved. And people started listing some very weird things. Some said he needs to go to the WTA and try to conquer that the next time you see him wearing a wig in the WTA. But that shows you how much he has achieved. There's so much to be said about the man, Novak, no joke, Djokovic, and the way and manner in which he took that final, it felt like he came for business and he actually achieved it. And it felt like, the way and manner he did it, so remarkable. There was a tweet where he said the younger generation have it all to prove, and he included himself in the younger generation. That's to show you that the energy, the hunger is still there for him. Amazing for him.
I was a rollback to peak
Djokovic.
Novak Djokovic. Akars had no answer. Took him to 2 tie breaks, and in both tie breaks, they just swept him apart. Undisputed GOAT.
Absolutely. I mean, there's nothing he has not achieved. What has Djokovic not achieved that any other tennis player has achieved that will make you place him ahead of Djokovic? There's nothing. So I think for that reason, in terms of what the achievement it brings to the table, the greatness is undisputed.
For those who don't know, Edwin is a huge Novak Djokovic fan. He's won the most career Grand Slam singles title. He's won the most Masters 1000 titles. He's at 40. For Grand Slam singles, he's 24. He spent the most time as world number 1. Yes, more than any tennis player. And right now he has an Olympic gold medal. Don't forget, in 2008 Beijing, he won the bronze medal. David, I'm so chuffed, David. Over the weekend, I was just at the top of my voice, and my neighbors, I'm sure, were wondering, what is wrong with this guy? Yes, it is the excitement that comes with the Olympics. At this juncture, we'll take a break. When we come back, it's going to be all things football. What's happening with Manchester United and Chelsea? What are their respective managers cooking? Welcome back. It's the second half of the show. Remember, you can follow us on our social media platforms. The handles are showing on your screen. David, let's talk football. This weekend, we have the curtain raiser, the Premier League. It is Manchester United, FA Cup winners, and Manchester City, Premier League winners. Before we get to that, United seem to be in disarray, injury problems, results not coming forth in pre-season, lost to Arsenal, lost to Liverpool. What are we expecting from United coming to the season?
Same of the same, unfortunately for United fans. I mean,
Too bad.
the fact that Ten Hag is still in place, I don't see where the miracle is going to come from. It's like, they change a lot of the backroom staff, but the man at the helms of affairs still remain, and still the same ideas, the same excuses that we keep. The fact that he keeps excusing, the injuries to let's get more players. At some point, you have to look yourself in the mirror and know that somebody fault should come from you. The fact that United are going into the season, they spent 120 million plus on strikers over the last 2 windows, and they are going into this season not sure of who is going to start as striker for them. It tells you there's a lot of confusion. So, and City, well, let's see how they can raise their levels again. They've done 4 titles in a row. Now, what is left for them to achieve this? But Guardiola at the helms of affairs, the relentless taskmaster, is still going to push them for something again. There's always something for him to achieve. So, unfortunately for United fans, I'm seeing another loss to start their season.
It's also looking ominous for Manchester United when you consider that City have largely played the preseason with B or C team.
Yeah.
I begin to wonder when the KDBs come back and the Bernardo Silvas and the Rodriguez come back.
It's only going
United are in for a ride. From United and City, let's talk Liverpool for a moment. And I've seen a lot of exciting things for Liverpool and Arne Slot coming into the new season. But let me put you under the spot, David. Now, we know that Darwin Núñez, in quotes now, inverted commas, has a lot of potential. We haven't seen that. We saw a glimpse of it with Benfica, but we haven't seen that continuity with Liverpool. But there's a guy who, when he's fit, he guarantees you goals. I'm not talking about Salah, I'm talking about Jota. If you are Arne Slot, who will you pick as your go-to guy to fill that central area? Darwin Núñez or Diogo Jota?
Well, I'll still go for Darwin Núñez. I think I call him chaos theory because there's a lot of chaos that comes, but when he gets on the good side, and also over the weekend, and the slot actually put a call through to Darwin Núñez that you are central in my plan. So I think that's the kind of reassurance that tells you that this is a man who sees potential in this player and he feels there's something to work with. So unfortunately, you cannot rely on somebody who is always injured. You cannot rely on. So you have to rely on who is available all the time. Availability is part of your ability. So I think Darwin Núñez for me.
All right, for Arsenal, Calafiori's in a couple more deals coming through before the end of the transfer window. There also talks that they could be in for a last-minute approach for Victor Osimhen. Genuinely, David, genuinely. While I think Manchester City have a better first 11, I think for the 24-25 season, if Arsenal gets their target, they'll have a better squad.
Yeah, I think so.
Does it make them maybe slight favorites for the Premier League title?
I think so. Slight, let's just caveat using slight. 2 seasons ago when they finished behind 65 points and they signed Declan Rice, spent over 200 million. I said it that they can only get better, and they did. They closed the gap to 2 points. And I think this season again, how do you improve on the best defense in the league? You add another defender. In the midfield, they're also trying to bring in. The issue with when Xhaka left, he discovered that it didn't work using Rice in that position. He's bringing somebody who feels he can do the Xhaka role a bit. So I think they can only get better. For that reason, last 2 seasons it was raising the ceiling of the club, by signing high potential players. Now they want to raise the floor. So the likes of Emile Smith-Rowe, the likes of Nketiah, the likes of Rezensi are going to leave for players who we can trust on the bench. So I think for that reason, they are slight favourites for me. All
right, away from England, let's do a bit of Spanish La Liga. We saw a dress rehearsal for what is to come in the El Clasico. This time it was Barcelona who took the day. 80,000 fans came to the stadium to watch Barcelona and Real Madrid. But it is quite interesting that we didn't see a full, strong Barcelona team. But you can see the ideas. Should Barcelona fans be excited coming to the new season?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if they had any little worries, I think with Hansi Flick, it shows that this is a manager who has a clear idea, a clear path. He doesn't moan about players not being available. He wants to work with the tools that are on ground. I think for that reason, there's a clear direction. I think they'll get the semblance of what they want. Playing Real Madrid over the weekend with that kind of squad. And the players that he has brought in over the course of the preseason, young guys, they've actually impressed. So, which means if those boys can take to his tactics, when the bigger players come, there's something to work on. Yeah.
It's also interesting that the former coach Xavi found it difficult to play the Barcelona way, despite being in that Barcelona environment all through his playing career.
Yeah.
And the conversation was, oh, he didn't have the players, he didn't have time, blah, blah, blah. But there's someone who's coming from a different climb with a different philosophy who, in the last few weeks, has shown that he can play the Barcelona with. What really went wrong with Xavi?
I think for Xavi, the pressure was much on him as a former Barcelona. The expectation, for Hansi Flick, the expectation is not as much as, oh, Xavi must give us, you were one of the brains behind that style of football that we. So, I think another thing, Hansi Flick is not playing exactly the way, the tiki-taka style, but he's bringing a semblance of that. So, I think he will find a way around it, around the tiki-taka, and put his own philosophy. But you're expecting Xavi to play exactly that way, and that's where the issue came up.
Last season, Barcelona didn't compete. This season, will they compete?
I think so. I think they will give it the very best. I think with Hansi Flick, he has a point to prove. He will want to make a statement. After the Bayern job, he has not really had any much success anywhere. So I think this is a big opportunity. You want to make the best of it. I'll
wrap up the show with Chelsea. What is Enzo Maresca cooking? That was a question I asked them on my social media, and I got a lot of funny responses. Some say he's cooking ogbono, others say he's cooking egusi. But David, what is Maresca really cooking?
I think, unfortunately for Maresca, he's trying to cook something good, but the guys serving him the ingredients are serving him some very wrong ingredients. You are trying to make ogbono, and they are giving you okra, and it's a lot of things that don't match. The fact that Chelsea have 8 first-team goalkeepers, they have the largest squad in the Premier League. So there's too many players, and the approach is so wrong. I don't understand what Todd Boehly and the Clear Lake ownership are trying to do now. They just seem to be cherry-picking players from all over Europe, and that's the problem. You bring in a manager, he wants to do a job, and then you keep bringing in players for him, just bombarding with players. They don't have a starting 11. They don't know exactly who's going to start for the season. So unfortunately for Enzo Maresca, he's in the pot of soup himself.
And David, I remember I said finally, another finally. There's a curious case of Federico Chiesa. His surplus to requirement at Juventus. This was someone who burst on the scene at Fiorentina, and we felt that he was going to be the next big thing with Italian football. But he seems to have been unstuck right now. No progression, feels stagnant, doesn't need a fresh environment. By that, I'm not saying start with another Italian club, maybe away from Italy.
Yeah, I think so. I think the fact that Thiago Motta came in and made it clear that he's surplus to requirement. Even before Thiago Motta, I think even Allegri had started to, injuries have not helped him, unfortunately, during this class. So a fresh environment. Then his style of play, I think maybe he's not suited to Italian football in general. You can say you were raised in Italy, but sometimes your style of football might not be suited to that country. He's an explosive player. He likes to take on his fullback, tries to, it's the old-fashioned type of winger. It's not the cutting type of. He likes to go to the byline. So I think maybe a fresh start somewhere, maybe in England. I think England would be the best place for him.
Where do you see Matt? Spurs, United, Arsenal, maybe the Spanish La Liga?
I see him at Spurs. I don't really. I think for Arsenal, I think there's a space for him at Arsenal. The fact that
Arsenal fans are greedy.
They've been crying out for a Bukayo Saka replacement or a backup for Bukayo Saka. And considering where Chiesa is, he needs less pressure. So he can just be at Arsenal. Come in and impact the game. So I think Arsenal is the best place for him.
That's the size of today's show. I'm sure you've had fun with us in our customary manner. We'll leave you with our video for the week. Do enjoy it. And remember to give us a follow on our social media platforms. We have lovely, lovely content for you on the YouTube page. It is a ciao from me, Edwin Onyebolise, and David. Once again, it's a pleasure having you on set.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure to be here. A delight as always. And from David, it's goodbye.